Call of Duty is where it all started, a critically acclaimed World War II shooter that would launch one of the biggest franchises in gaming history. The original Call of Duty was designed on the Quake 3 Arena engine, ID Tech 3 technically, and the Call of Duty franchise still uses a heavily modified version of this engine to this day. It is the only Call of Duty game to date that doesn't feature any type of shotgun. At the end credits, as a joke, a sign appears that says no cows were harmed during the making of this game, referencing the large number of dead cattle seen throughout the game that the player could use as cover. Call of Duty for the Nokia N-Gage features a stripped-down retelling of the adventure from the PC game while mixing in a few unique missions. One mission, Penizaskia, would actually get recreated and used as a full-blown mission in Call of Duty 2. And the original Call of Duty also had an expansion pack called United Offensive. There were new maps, which were much larger than the ones in the original game, new weapons, and an endgame ranking system which grants additional bonuses with more points and vehicles, tanks, and jeeps. It was the first and only expansion pack in a Call of Duty series. Call of Duty Finest Hour was the first Call of Duty game to be released on a console, the PS2, GameCube, and the original Xbox. The game featured the first female playable character in a Call of Duty game named Tanya Pavlinova, and featured the lead singer of AC/DC Brian Johnson in one of the main roles as Sergeant Starkey. Finest Hour is known for being full of Easter eggs and secrets. There is a dance party which can be found featuring American and German soldiers dancing to a pair of phonograph record players, and which the player can interact with and scratch the record. There is also a giant apple with a UFO inside of it, and a Nazi UFO as well. You can also find a ghostly or Arabic guitar player playing his guitar. There's a very creepy hidden room which has a baby crib and a small child in it, baby pictures on the walls, and a large rat in a cage and a small tank wandering around the room. During the development of Call of Duty 2, Infinity Ward spent time traveling the world to look at areas where war actually took place. Some of their findings caused them to scrap whole levels that took place in France, since they found the location to be different than what they imagined. Infinity Ward implemented a battle chatter system into Call of Duty 2 not found in the original game. It allowed its squad members to use dynamic dialogue to create situational awareness. The system had a total of 22,000 lines of dialogue. Each soldier fighting alongside the player would call out the position of enemies, warn of flank attacks, help out the player in many different ways.
German troops! Next to that low wall over there! Open fire!
Call of Duty 2 is the first Call of Duty game to have regenerating health system, which would become the standard of the series. And it is also the first game in the series which featured injured enemies laying down and using pistols. This would later inspire the Last Stand perk in future games. Call of Duty 3 is the first in a main series of Call of Duty games developed by Treyarch, and it is the only Treyarch game to not feature a zombie mode. It is the only main series Call of Duty game to see a release on 6th generation consoles, the original Xbox and PlayStation 2. In the PlayStation 2 version of Call of Duty 3, weapon models and animations from Call of Duty 2 Big Red One were reused instead of the models from the other formats. In an interview with Video Gamer, the senior producer Noah Heller revealed that the team only had 8 months to develop Call of Duty 3. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was developed by a team of 100 people over the course of 2 years. It was the first game in the series not to take place in World War II, and the first game where the enemies are Russians. To enhance the realistic feel of the game, the development team attended a live fire exercise at the Marine Corps Air-Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms. The team also talked with U.S. Marines who were recently in combat to get a feel of the background, emotions, and attitude of the Marines in combat. Veterans were also recruited to supervise motion capture sessions and the design of the artificial intelligence in the game. In the early stages of the game's development, an announcer would congratulate the player on promotion when completing a challenge.
First blood.
The ultranationalists in the game have the same pain and death sounds as the Germans in Call of Duty 2. The manual for the Xbox 360 version incorrectly states that the use button is B when it is actually X. On January 14, 2008, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare passed Halo 3 as the most played game on Xbox Live. 1 week later, Halo 3 was number 1 once again, and the two games continued to trade it off over the next several years. That's it for now. Make sure you subscribe to Culture Shock Network for more videos and like them on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and all those sort of things to keep up with what they're doing. If you enjoyed my narration, my name is Drift0r. I run a channel mostly based on Call of Duty, but also some Battlefield where we go over the technical stats and specifications for the weapons. Drift0r out.